What's up guys, Illustrious Storm, back at it again with another video. Now today's video is going to be a story time about the time I was skipping class and I actually got caught. There's a couple twists and turns, so make sure you stay tuned for the whole video to find out all the twists and turns. But before this video starts, go ahead and hit the like button down below, and if you're new here and by the end of the video you had a good time, I'm gonna have to ask you to subscribe. But other than that, hope you guys have an awesome day and enjoy the video. Deuces. So the story starts like any normal high school day. The day is going by pretty good, nothing bad has happened, and it's going by actually rather quick. It's already third period, and I'm in the hallway walking down to my next class, which was going to be theater. And my friend Chris kind of stops me by as I'm going in. And he's like, "Hey, what's up, Storm?" I'm like, "What's up?" Now Chris is not the best influence. He's kind of he doesn't really get good grades or anything. He just kind of does the bare minimum for everything, but he's a pretty cool guy and does a lot of funny things. So we were friends, and he stops me before I get into class and he's like, "Hey, you want to skip class and just kind of hang out instead of going?" And for some reason it kind of sounded like a good idea. I was thinking about the class I was about to take and I was like, I really don't want to be in theater. I don't really feel like just being in there today. You know what, fuck it, let's go ahead and skip. I don't really skip too often. This is like one of my first times. Let's go ahead and do it. So I told him, I'm like, "Yeah, Chris, let's go ahead and skip, and I guess what do? It's just skipping class. As long as we're quick and agile and we don't get caught by like anyone walking around, we should be fine." So he tells me, "All right, before class starts, you gotta go to the restroom and we'll meet up once the bell rings for the final bell, once everyone should be in class." I'm like, "Okay." So I go into the restroom, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. So as I'm hanging out in the bathroom stall, I'm looking at the wall, and in my school, a lot of people will draw on the walls and do all kinds of stupid things on the walls, write whatever they want. And in this particular instance, someone very artistic has decided to draw a naked woman on the side of the wall. And it looked really nice, actually. It has some pretty good shading, and the figure was right. It looked pretty cool. But it was actually missing, a very important part if you're gonna have naked boobs on a drawing. It was actually missing its nipples. And I just thought, it needs nipples. It just doesn't look right without nipples. So I took out one of my markers that was in my backpack and I drew little nipples on the already naked body was there. So there was already this huge naked body on there, but I decided to add nipples to the drawing just to make it a little bit better, just add a little spice of my artistic vision to the piece and, just really make it a standout picture. And yeah, so I go ahead and put the little nipples on it, and I put the pencil back, or not the pencil, I put the Sharpie back in my backpack, and then I go out and meet Chris. Now Chris is already out in the hallway. I see him, I'm like, "Oh, what's up, bro? So what do we do?" He's like, "Well, to be honest, we just kind of walk around throughout the hallways and we kind of make sure we don't get caught by anybody." I'm like, "Great, so this is going to be pretty stressful." So we're just walking around and I go by my third period just to see who's in there and what's kind of going on. I probably should have went, And at this very moment, I do remember kind of being like, well, it hasn't been that long. You could go to the class and be like, "I'm sorry I was late, I got stuck behind talking to another teacher," and you could just go in and not have to deal with the stressful skipping class situation. But that thought came and went as quick as possible because I just remember being like, fuck it, and then I continued walking around with Chris. So we're just talking. I don't really have any idea, I don't have any idea what we were talking about, to be honest. Probably something stupid, but that's besides the point, because we were walking down the hallway and then we run into a teacher. I just said teacher to kind of keep the suspense up. It actually was the principal of the school. His name was Mr. Webster. And, he's probably the person you don't want to run into in the hallways while you're skipping class. But we ended up running into Mr. Webster. So he comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, boys, stop." So we immediately stop because we're not about to run away from the principal. He knows both of us. And he's like, "Where are your boys supposed to be?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm on a restroom break." And then Chris is like, "Yeah, I'm on a restroom break too." We were just kind of talking. And he did not buy it. He looked at us and was like, "All right, come with me." And then as we're walking, I'm like, fuck, this is not gonna end well. Chris kind of whispers slightly to me and he's like, "Dude, just follow my lead. Don't say anything. I've done this before. One time I got pulled into the office and he just wants you to sit there, okay? If you sit there and don't say anything, you're gonna go to your next period and it's gonna be fine." And I'm like, okay. So we're walking down the hallway and Mr. Webster has a little walkie-talkie on the side of his leg and it goes off and they're talking about some naked woman drawing on the bathroom wall. And then he turns to us and he's like, "Yo, not yo, but he was like, 'Yo, boys, do you guys know anything about a naked woman drawing? And then I'm like, no. And he's like, well, do you happen to have a Sharpie on you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, do you know about the drawing? I was like, yeah, I've seen the drawing. And he's like, did you happen to draw the drawing? And this is when shit goes bad, because I swear, guys, I'm so bad about telling the truth. Like, anytime I get the chance to tell the truth, it just happens. I don't know why. I figured, you know, he could just easily go to the cameras and see. I don't know. I just panicked, and I was like, yeah, I drew it, but you know, it was just the nipples. And then he was like, okay, yeah, okay, no, okay, you and Chris come with me, we're going to the office. So I'm like, oh shit. We're sitting there in the office, and the principal brings me into his own office first, and it's like, okay, so you drew the picture on there. I was like, no, I didn't draw the picture on there. I just drew like the little nipples, you know, I added to it. He wasn't buying it. He was like, so you drew the whole thing. We're gonna have to call your parents and basically tell them that you drew a naked woman on the wall. And he goes to Chris and asks him the same thing, like, did you draw anything? And he's like, no, I didn't draw anything. It wasn't me or whatever. And he's like, well, you're skipping. He's like, no, I wasn't skipping. I was just on a restroom break. He sticks to his story like a smart man. He asked me, and I'm like, well, I was supposed to be in class, but decided not to go, and I drew the nipples. I'm over here just freaking laying it out for him, giving him every single reason to keep me. I don't know, thinking back, and I'm like, Jesus, like, why did I do this? He basically calls my mom and is like, yo, your kid is getting suspended for drawing on the wall. He called it vandalism, and basically was like, he was also skipping class. You're gonna need to come from your job right now, come pick him up and go home. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I shouldn't have said anything. I should have kept quiet like Chris said. And at this point, I'm like freaking out. My mom ends up coming to the school anyways and was like, yo, what the fuck, pretty much. And she wasn't buying the fact that I didn't draw it either, which is stupid because I actually didn't draw it and I just added the nipples, but you know, my luck. And yeah, I ended up getting suspended from school and she had to take me home. Now on my way out, this is the part that sucks, bro. I see Chris and he's literally, cause like the period's just ending and he's literally leaving the office going to his next period. And I'm like, oh my God, he was totally right. I just had to shut the fuck up and basically not say anything and I would have gotten out of this. But yeah, I got suspended. He got let to his next period. That's why in life, guys, you shouldn't always tell the truth. I don't know, I've been given mixed signals. Sometimes I say tell the truth, sometimes I say don't tell the truth. In this instance, I shouldn't have like said anything and just, you know, bit the bullet because they didn't really have anything on me. But yeah, that was the one time I skipped class. I actually skipped class one more time after that, like in high school, and I did get caught, but it wasn't that bad. I just got like tardy D hall or something, and after that I was like, I'm not skipping anymore. Like this is just not for me. I always get caught. It's not fun. I get super paranoid. I'd rather just be in fucking class. But yeah, so that was the time I skipped class and I actually got caught. We were only skipping class for like maybe 10 minutes until I got caught. So yeah, I'm not very good at it. And yeah, I probably wouldn't do that anymore if I had the chance. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the quick little story time. Hope it was a little interesting to you. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video and you didn't mind the video at all and you kind of liked it, go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. But other than that, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. You know, life is awesome. Make it what you can. And just, yeah, have an awesome day, guys. Doses.
If you kill me, I'm beating your ass and I'm telling my dad I'm an orphan, but that's what you get. I was taking a shower from inside of the car, but they didn't have none, so I'm taking a shit. Blind people can't see, they just gotta eat seafood. But if you deaf, then just listen to this.